All right, everybody, welcome to Empty the Bench. That's Nick Fodera. I'm Nick Morgasen. It's the Nick and Nick show today.
So Tom Albano is not with us this week because he was called to Fight Island, and now he must defeat 7 grandmasters in hand-to-ass combat. So if he wins, I mean, he gets to be the ass king of Fight Island. But I don't really want to ask him what that means. So I'm guessing it's something terrible.
I think we should leave that story for another day. Anyway, so crazy world, crazy takes in the world of sports, I should say. Well, as Nick knows, I think I almost had a volcanic eruption over the last couple of days.
I could see the steam coming out of his ears.
And if you saw on Twitter, and if you want to follow us at ETB Sports, and actually if you want to follow the show, there it is, Facebook.com/ETB Sports. Go follow us. That's where we are. We're live on this platform as we speak.
We're live right now.
We're live, or if you're watching us after, greetings.
Hi.
So,
what's the future like? Is it worse? It's worse, isn't it?
It's probably worse.
Oh, God. You know, let's not get off the rails too much. So context is necessary. So what is it that drove Mr. Basketball insane?
All right, so here's story number 1, which is James Harden has officially been traded to the Brooklyn Nets in a blockbuster deal with the Rockets. And as you said, Mr. Basketball almost had a volcanic eruption when this deal happened.
You know, it's funny because it is a lot like a blockbuster deal in that one side is now bankrupt.
Yes. And what I don't understand, and I'm going to get very mad right off the bat, by the way, this is the worst trade that I've ever seen since the trade, I think in 08 or 09, between the Nets and the Celtics for KG and Paul Pierce. Are you kidding me?
That was when they first moved to Brooklyn.
Yeah, Paul Pierce forgot the other day that he actually played for the Nets.
It was 2012, I think.
Oh, yeah, maybe it was 2012. You know what? It's still bad. I'm pissed off. Excuse me. And I don't understand this trade. I had to literally write this trade down in my notes so that Nick and I could talk about it. So here's the trade broken down to the best of our ability. So the way the trade broke down, there's 4 teams involved. 4 teams. Nets, Rockets, Cavs, Pacers. Now, when we're done talking about this trade, the Nets have completely freaking mortgaged their future for the next 8 years. So the Nets got James Harden. Right. And then the Nets got James Harden and a 2024 second-round pick from the Cavs. Okay, so you got the big star, and now you're with Kevin Garnett, and you have Kyrie Irving, who's kind of gone AWOL at this point. And
although he's back tonight, apparently.
Well, we'll get to that, because that's a whole nother story I'm pissed off about. But the Rockets, who got Victor Oladipo from the Pacers, I'll explain that one, because that trade kind of happened after the fact. Danye Exum from the Cavs, and Rodions Carusis, I'm sure I totally butchered that name, from the Nets. Plus, the Rockets got, now this is what freaking irritated me, okay? They also
God, it broke friggin' StreamYard, people. So at least trying to break this down, I mean, it is. Look, I'll just put my 2 cents in to see if we can kill time before he gets back. So, what I'm having trouble understanding, what I'm having difficulty with, is the fact that why.
Nick, can you hear me?
Yeah, you broke for a second. I was about to go on my own rant, but go ahead.
So basically what happened is I said Brooklyn's 3 unprotected first-round picks, 2022, 2024, 2026. Pick swaps 2021, 2023, 2025, 2027, and the Bucks' 2022 first-round pick via the Cavs. And the Pacers got Karis LeVert, who is the Nets' top prospect. Or not prospect,
he's their top young player.
And a 2023 second-round pick from the Rockets. And the Cavs got Jared Allen, who's their top young player in this trade from the Nets, and Taurean Prince from the Nets. What the happened?
Let me see if I can figure out from a non baseball, a non-basketball person's perspective, and if you'll indulge me for a moment.
Okay.
See, everything about this deal screams to me monkey's paw situation, because it seems to me like Sean Marks wished for a big three of his very own. But what are you giving up to get it? It's a Pyrrhic victory. Because I would say, and I think you would agree, that the Nets, window of competition with the pieces that they had were probably maybe 5, 6, maybe even 7 years, because they had a bunch of young talent. Spencer Dinwiddie, you had Karis LeVert and Jared Allen and everybody else. Now that you don't, it is the length of KD's contract now. The window has slammed shut, or it's about to slam shut, all for the sake of building a big three that you don't know is even going to gel together, and you don't know that they're going to be able to win games. Again, the Net, as we're having this conversation, what is the Nets' record right now?
Oh, I don't even know. I'd have to go look. But they're in a mode right now.
You mortgage the future for the win now mode, and the piece that you got, I'm not even sure if that's the final piece. It seems to me like they were giving James Harden what he wanted more than what the Nets felt like they should do that's best for their team.
So the Nets are 7-6. They're at a 500 record, eventually as the 5th overall seed. So they're in the top 5 seeds, but
not to overcome the Bucks.
They're not going to overcome the Bucks
or the Celtics
or any of those teams. Even with Jason Tatum being down with COVID and that whole situation,
might not even overcome the Knicks.
But you're missing the whole situation here. You mortgaged 8 years of picks and draft capital that you had to build up after making that fucking stupid trade with the Celtics. And now you spend it all again?
And now it's gone.
It's gone. Bye-bye. See you later. Farewell. 8 years of draft capital gone.
And James Harden better try. Because it's obvious every single minute he was in Houston. He was eyeing the exit. He really was. Because he didn't want to be the guy. You know what? Now you're not the guy anymore. So you know what? Let's see how you act as let's call it the Thor to Kyrie and KD's Cap and Iron Man.
No, but I got to say something else. So James Harden put out a Instagram post talking about his time in Houston. You know how someone like a big star says goodbye to a city? They either
page ad of the Instagram post or some crap like that.
Well, it used to be you took a page out of like the biggest newspaper in the city. Now they just go to Instagram and they put their own post. So here's the post. It's a long post, so I'll try to get through it quickly. So James Harden on his official Instagram account says, "What can I write? What words can convey all the ways I feel? Houston,
I'm going to Brooklyn."
Right. Houston, you welcomed me with no guarantees. Took a leap of faith, and it changed my life and the lives of my family forever. This organization, this city, has given me everything I could ask for and more. Before the scoring titles, long before MVP, you believed. For that, I am forever indebted. The city opened its arms and welcomed me and my family as one of its own, and for that, I am forever indebted. I gave my mind, body, and soul in hopes of bringing the glory to the city. I fell short, and for that, I am forever indebted. It's far from a goodbye as I pay all my debts." I'm sorry, I need to say something right now. What a fucking liar.
It is, yeah. I mean, I've seen disingenuous Instagram posts before. I mean, we are in the sports world, but I mean, come on. Don't do that.
Hey, Harden, do you think that we're stupid? Like, do you think
Yes.
Do you think we're that stupid that we don't see what's going on here? You're like KD, who forced his way out of OKC to go to the Warriors to join Steph Curry and Draymond Green and Klay Thompson to win a title.
And no matter how much talent they tried to throw at him in Houston, it didn't work.
Russell Westbrook
didn't
tried
work.
to trade him back and his large, ridiculous contract because they two were friends. Well, that didn't work out. Guess who's gone now? They're both gone from Houston. This whole thing is a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace.
There's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can say about this trade that you're not saying better than I am.
And also, like I said, the mortgaging of the future. And by the way, just so people understand, well, why are they trading picks every other year and pick swaps the opposite year? Because you can't trade 8 straight years of picks. It's against the NBA rules. They did it on purpose so that teams don't mortgage their futures completely for 8 years.
You would think so. You would think that these are things that would happen, but you know what? So they do not.
So the other piece of this whole situation, the Kyrie Irving situation, okay? So
again, context is necessary. For those of you who don't know, we have been tracking Kyrie Irving as a bit. He's gone AWOL, to say the least.
AWOL.
He hasn't been seen. He's missed 5 games, and Instagram videos of him at a party, supposedly a birthday party, have popped up on the internet. Maskless, as a matter of fact. He's shown up in weird places, and nobody knew what happened to Kyrie. They all thought it was something basketball related, or maybe he's upset about the Capitol riots, or they couldn't really tell. But you know what? He's back now. But now he's been fined, I think, close to
$820,000.
Still, that's a not insignificant chunk of change, while considering his contract.
Well, yeah, he's making like $34 million a year under his new contract with the Nets. But
he sneezes that kind of money every 20 minutes.
Do you think he cares? And I'm talking to Adam Silver right now as I'm looking into the camera. Commissioner Silver, you are the biggest effing asshole right now when it comes to handling the NBA COVID-19 protocols. If your COVID-19 protocols were so good, why are all these guys having to sit out and quarantining? And why are you losing 12 games in the first 25 days?
Bubble. It is, you know what it is? It's like all of a sudden Adam Silver didn't realize that, hey, wait, you need players to play basketball?
And I'm getting sick of this. Games are getting canceled left and right due to COVID protocols. Sometimes it's not even for positives.
It is, again, this is why the bubble worked so well. It worked.
Just to give you a timeline. So from January 13th, an NBA memo was sent out to teams detailing plans to expand current testing with a PCR test and a rapid test, plus a third test the day of game PCR that will return within an hour. Now, from what I remember, PCR tests don't return in an hour, right?
Well, when you got diagnosed with COVID, you got a rapid, right?
I got a rapid. It returned in like 15, 20 minutes.
But it still was able to detect the positive because you were far enough removed from being exposed to it. But, I mean, I don't think that PCR tests can be, you can't return them the day of unless they've had some kind of miraculous advance in technology I wasn't made aware of.
No, and that's what's bothering me here, which is how are they doing all this? So that memo comes out on January 13th. Then on January 14th, the Pacers-Suns game is canceled due to what? Contact tracing, because the Suns don't have enough players to play.
Now, NBA conducts its own contact tracing. In the absence of a federal initiative, and because the state's contact tracing corps are busy, contact tracing for its own citizens, the NBA has taken it upon itself to conduct its own form of contact tracing. And it seems to me like that's a day late and a dollar short.
Well, so for most people that watch the NBA games, they don't know the rules for the protocol. You need 8 players, 8 dressed players to be able to play a game. So as soon as you drop below that number, the game is canceled because you don't have enough people on the roster to play. We've seen that quite a few times over the past week where teams, not even with positives, due to being out for health and safety protocols. Well, if you're out for health and safety protocols, then someone had to have had COVID, right?
Exactly.
but they're not reporting it. The teams are not reporting the situation. So if they're out for health and safety protocols, someone had to have COVID.
I mean, are you trying to get one over on somebody? Are you trying to have some kind of strategy? I don't get it.
That's my problem here. So then that game gets canceled. Then we find out, according to Sham Sharina of Stadium and The Athletic, that five players tested positive for COVID with the Washington Wizards, and it got updated a few hours later. 6 players tested positive for the Washington Wizards. Games canceled. So where are all these positives coming from? If Commissioner Adam Silver's COVID protocols are so good, how are people getting COVID, and why is he not doing anything to protect these players?
I mean, he's not doing enough. Contact tracers are not the COVID police, but Adam Silver definitely has the power to become the COVID police. It's a private organization. He can do what he wants to enforce it. Therefore, why are you not throwing ungodly amounts of money and manpower and resources at this and time?
And you know what? I'm starting this campaign right now. Like I've already started. Here's the campaign. Fire Adam Silver.
Now, you must differentiate this from the many times you called for the heads of sports commissioners.
The reason I'm calling for the head of Adam Silver is because he's not protecting the players that are making him the money in the league.
It was never about player safety, Nick. It never was.
But it has to be.
It has to be. I agree with you. But you know what? To take the cynical, to apply a cynical reading to this situation is to say that they don't care. It's about they see players as an engine to make them money. And if a part drops off of an engine, you just replace it with another one.
But that makes no sense.
I know it doesn't, but this is how they think.
And the whole issue I have with this thing. So I think Adrian Wojnarowski came out and said that they're expanding rosters to allow two-way contract players, like to have 3 instead of 2, so that they get more players. That doesn't solve the issue. That's actually adding another body to the mix that could get COVID.
You see, this is why the bubble worked.
So then, to project through this timeline even more, we find out from Shams that Kyrie Irving was fined $50,000 for health and safety protocols attending the private indoor party, which, by the way, Kyrie Irving, you are the dumbest idiot I've ever seen in my entire life. What are you doing attending a private indoor party when you know the NBA has private health and safety protocols?
If I may,
go ahead.
I understand that people are fatigued by lockdown. They don't want to be in COVID protocols anymore. But people, we are so close to getting a vaccine. The vaccines are out there. We're almost there. Please take the precautions. And that goes for the rich and that goes for the poor, especially for Kyrie Irving.
So then, like you said, Nick, from Woj, as long as he tests negative and clears protocol, Kyrie will be back today against the Orlando Magic.
Boy, that's going to be an awkward conversation in the locker room. Hey, what I missed, guys?
Hey, we got James Harden. Here you go. Slide back in. But
wow, James Harden got here? When did that happen?
When did that trade happen? Oh, Sean Marks didn't consult me on that. The GM of the Nets, by the way.
Well, Sean Marks didn't even consult his Magic 8 Ball.
He probably went. He's just like, trade.
Should I trade for James Harden? Hell no. Screw you. I'm doing it myself.
No, actually, he shook it. It said, ask again later.
Good point.
So to put a bow on this part of the section, to go back to the protocols situation, we find out last night in huge breaking news fashion that Timberwolves star Karl Anthony Towns tests positive for COVID-19. And we're seeing more and more stars ending up with positive COVID tests. How many stars is it going to take to bring down this league?
LeBron.
I don't think they'll stop. I really don't think they'll stop if LeBron gets it.
You don't think they would stop if LeBron did it?
Hell no. Hell no. They will not stop. They care about the bottom line. This league is so progressive.
Their bottom line, though.
They don't give a shit. They don't. They don't give a shit. They're going to play. They want those TV contract hours. They want to sell merch. They want to be on TV. They have media rights. They don't give a crap if LeBron goes down. They'll replace him with the next guy from the G League.
Replace him with his son.
So the statement from Karl Anthony.
Right. You are right. You do have a point.
So Karl Anthony Towns put out a statement prior to tonight's game. This was last night. I received yet another awful call that I tested positive for COVID. I will immediately isolate and follow every protocol. I pray every day that this nightmare of a virus will subside, and I beg everyone to continue to take it seriously by taking all the necessary precautions. Where have we heard that before?
Pretty much everywhere, but you know what? It makes the tenor of the note makes it think, to me at least, that he's not asymptomatic.
And you know what's worse? His mother died. His mother
died from it.
So, you know what? Fuck this virus. I'm so done with it. But follow the protocols, damn it.
I can't say it's the simplest thing in the world because it is disrupting people's lives, but please wear a mask. Stay 6 feet apart. Wash your hands. Please.
It's unbelievable to me. And by the way, we have to get to another asshole right now because this next story, this man, Mr. Charles Barkley. Now, Nick and I were talking about this right before the show. And I just
cut right to it. I mean,
you want to react to it after?
He said that athletes should get the COVID-19 vaccine priority due to the amount of taxes that they pay. So play the audio. Play what you can.
We need 300 million shots. I'm giving 1,000 to some NBA players. What about NFL? NFL. I'm just going to say NFL players, hockey players. Listen, as much taxes as these players pay. Let me repeat that. As much taxes as these players pay, they deserve some preferential treatment.
For life and death?
Yes.
The amount of money you make.
No. I said taxes. I didn't say the amount of money you make.
Well, that's taxes.
I'm saying the amount of taxes these guys pay.
We can't go there. I don't think you could go there.
So this is unbelievable to me.
Okay. So I think for the longest time, people have been saying, "Oh, well, that's just Charles. He says what he means. It just whatever pops in his head." But you need to understand something, people. What we just saw here was the words of a grade A, old-fashioned, all-American dick. He is a dick.
He's an asshole.
He has the ability to be an asshole in the worst situations. He Twitter ratioed himself on live TV.
I just don't understand this. Charles, and you and Tom have said I'm the biggest NBA advocate on this show, but I can't advocate for assholes. I can't advocate for assholes who say that athletes who make millions and because they pay more taxes that they should get the COVID. They should be able to cut in line. No, our healthcare workers are the ones that matter.
Considering the wealth you pay and a lot of the wealth that the wealthy pay in taxes are a lot less than what normal people pay in taxes. But that's a completely different situation. But you can't tell me that these people, you can't tell me that a life and death situation, you can't tell me that athletes deserve to get this COVID vaccine more than nursing home residents, more than medical assistants, doctors, frontline workers, everybody else, the immunocompromised, everybody, the elderly, over 85. Are you kidding me?
Charles, come on. You got to look at
who called him out on it on that audio?
Tom did, actually. Tom wrote quote tweets about it.
No, on the audio itself.
You mean who put out the tweet?
Who said the over life and death bit?
Oh, that was Kenny Smith, sitting next to him.
See, Kenny gets it.
And Ernie Johnson. But my problem with this whole thing, Charles has a tendency.
Even Shaq wouldn't say that.
And Shaq has said some dumb things in his life, but he would never say that people who are dying, and I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but we're probably close to 400,000 deaths in the U.S. alone.
We're closing in on it. We could probably be there by February.
So, Charles, you got to wake the fuck up and realize that just because these guys pay more taxes or they make more money doesn't mean that they're privileged. No one is privileged to this vaccine. Everybody should be able to get the vaccine the same way, except for the healthcare workers. The healthcare workers should be number one.
Exactly.
And Charles, they should suspend you from TNT. I'm calling right now.
I mean, considering that they've had him on a very long leash for a long time, I really don't think that this is the straw that breaks the camel's back.
Yeah, but Nick, we've seen people in media get suspended or lose their jobs over saying things about the COVID virus.
You know what? Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
I'm just saying, like, that was insulting. I'm sorry. That was really insulting to people who are dying from this virus.
Well, this is what happens when money blinds you to the reality of the situation. It blinds you to it's an empathy stripper. It really is.
All right. From the negative to now some positives, so I don't have to blow my mind and my stack over a volcanic eruption. The Yankees. So the Yankees made 2 signings yesterday. DJ LeMahieu, 6 years, $90 million. By the way, I think that's the steal of the century. And they signed Corey Kluber, which totally blew my mind yesterday, to a 1 year.
I wasn't expecting that one either.
A 1 year, $11 million deal pending a physical. And I was telling Nick, because he was asking me about how many teams went to the throw day, because Corey Kluber had a throw day. And 26 teams, I think, showed up. And he picked the Yankees.
Whether it was that the Yankees offered him the most money out of the 26 that saw him pitch that day, we really don't know. We don't know whether the Yankees had an advantage over anybody else in terms of money, but we do know that Corey Kluber set the one. He was only looking for a 1 year deal going in. But you know what? Let's get to that later. First, we must talk about the return of the machine. DJ LeMahieu comes back to the Yankees on a 6 year, $90 million deal. And no front load, no back load, no deferment. $15 million per is the AAV.
They got a steal.
To me, that's a steal, considering the value that he adds to this team, and he has added to this team over the past 2 years, the dimensionality that he's injected into the lineup. I mean, first of all, you couldn't let him go. We know. If you hadn't signed him back, if you thought my Rays rant from a couple of weeks ago was bad, I might have had a heart attack on air, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean...
You know what? We avoided that crisis, so we move on.
Well, and this is a steal. Like, no one understands. Like, oh, he's $90 million overseas. That's a steal. He should have gotten $100 million plus.
He could have gotten $100 million plus. The Blue Jays were offering him 70 for 5.
Right. So this is a steal. They should clean their hands and say we won the battle there. So
they got what they wanted because DJ did want to be, he wanted the years and he wanted to come back to the Yankees and he got what he wanted. The Yankees wanted less of an AAV hit.
Well, because they're trying to stay under that $210 million cap, which is absolutely driving you crazy.
Absolutely. It's absolutely arbitrary, but you know what? This is what we live in. These are the artificial limits that they have set against themselves. It's like fasting at a buffet line.
Wow, that's a good example right there. Anyway, just the way that they were not spending money, and now all of a sudden, $90 million here, so $101 million. And our co-host Tom looks like there's some breaking news incoming. We'll get to that in a minute when he joins us. But let's finish up on the Yankee news. So I don't know how to explain this. Why are they all of a sudden spending $100 million when they said they weren't going to spend anything?
Because it's DJ LeMahieu and they knew they needed him. They knew they needed him, but they knew I don't think they were ever going to be seriously in on Lindor. They might have kicked the tires on a couple of trade conversations with the Indians, but I don't believe that was ever really a thing. I don't believe Trevor Bauer was a thing. I do believe that the Yankees believe that their team is almost there, and signing DJ LeMahieu and, somewhat rebuilding the rotation is what they need to finally get over the hump. Because, we can see over the course of this offseason, the Rays took a definite step backward.
Yes, and you were saying that basically the Rays like we said, there was a progression. They went to the World Series, and now all of a sudden,
and then they tanked, and then they said, "We give up." There goes
Hi,
that.
see ya. And
okay, I'm going home now. That was fun. It's like going to Disney World, riding the monorail into the park, and then going back home.
You mean like you just went to the park and said, "Oh, I'm here in Disney World," but
exactly.
But you didn't go on any of the rides, and you never
waving
really
at the crowds from the parking lot, and then going back home.
It was like one of the most bizarre things. Like I was just okay. Like, what are we doing here? Are we making the moves? Are we not making the moves? Are we spending the money? Are we not spending the money? Like, but you know what? Go ahead.
But again, this brings me to what we did with Kluber, because I think that they think he's definitely got something in the tank. Of course, they may have had an in because his trainer, Eric Creasy, is actually the strength and conditioning coach for the Yankees. And I think that Corey Kluber we saw from 2014 to 2018, that's not coming back.
No.
But I do believe that he can be a solid number 2 or 3.
I mean, I think he had Tommy John, right?
No, he got hit in the arm with a freak line drive.
But it was essentially Tommy John.
And then it was a torn pectoral muscle he had in the minors.
Right, but he essentially had to get his arm reconstructed, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it takes a long time to come back. He was one of the biggest names in the game for the longest time with the Indians. Then the Indians just said, we don't want to deal with this anymore. So he went off to the Rangers. Didn't really pitch very well in a big ballpark there.
One inning.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It was 1 inning. And then that was it. It was over.
And that was it, yeah.
So I don't know.
I think that he can be a good piece at his best. But the year commitment and the money commitment is not that much. But I do think that Brian Cashman should keep looking for trade opportunities.
So does he get to keep his job now?
Yes. His job was never in doubt. He's a lot smarter than people on Yankees Twitter, including this person on Yankees Twitter, including that person on Yankees Twitter, and including everybody else. That's why he's Brian Cashman and I am not.
See, it's incredible to me that I think this goes more for the Yankee fan base than any other fan base. The New York fan base of any team also panics right away instead of saying, let's give the GM, let's give the owner a chance to.
Well, they're chicken littles.
My point is that they don't allow their ownership groups to survey the market and right away, and then they panic. And
because years of being under George has conditioned them to have everything all the time.
You mean like the bitchy Yankee fans who want all the big high-priced toys?
Again, not that I should say that's a wrong way of thinking, because I think that way. But you know what? In this situation, I think the Yankees and DJ and Kluber did the right thing.
Right. And I'm surprised the Yankees don't do more of these deals. I actually think that this is a good deal, the Corey Kluber deal, because they're on a 1-year flyer. It's not going to cost them that much. I mean, I hate to do this comparison, but this is what they did with Roger Clemens, if you remember.
Yeah, I remember.
I mean, they got him on a prorated, 1 year, $22 million. That ended up being like $9 or $10 million. So
it is there. Like I said, there's low risk involved in terms of the years guaranteed and the money that they're paying him.
All right, let's move on. It's now time for NFL picks because we do have games today. So let's see what's going on. Oh, and the breaking news has come in. Should we go to the breaking news first?
Let's go to the breaking news.
Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so now So the breaking news has come in. Here it is. I know you can't see us at the moment, but here's the breaking news. Khabib, how do you say his last name, Nick?
Nurmagomedov
has told Dana White he may come back if impressed by either Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler, or Dan Hooker next weekend. However, he isn't committed to a return, but Dana White will not be vacating the title. And let's see, Tom. This is from our co-host Tom.
Tom's own editorializing there. Good job, buddy.
Quite a
letdown of a breaking news announcement. No shit. But you know what? Hey, you know what? We'll take it. At least it just gives us a moment to catch our breath, even though I'm so short you can't see my face. The breaking news covered my entire head.
So the breaking news is, looks like Khabib is back, but we're not sure who he's going to be fighting and what's actually going to happen. So
it's going to be intense hand-to-ass combat, ladies and gentlemen.
If you go to our Twitter account and Instagram account,
that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, at ETV Sports, if you want to find that memes. We do some good memes over the week, so make sure you check those out. But all right, it's time for football
NFL picks. Oh, NFL stuff.
So let's talk about the coaching hire first before we get to the picks.
And this would have been, if not for the Harden trade, this would have been the thing you were ranting about this week.
Okay, I got to catch my breath because I'm already out of breath from screaming about that earlier. So the New York Jets have hired Robert Saleh as the new head coach of their team. I think it's the first Muslim coach to be a head coach also?
Yes. Other than Rich Kotite, I think.
As a head coach?
Arab American, technically.
Oh, okay. So I see this move, and we break it on our social media. It comes out. He's the 49ers defensive coordinator. And I said, oh, no, here we go again. We're hiring another defensive coordinator to be the head coach of the New York Jets.
See, if you don't mind me putting my 2 cents in, I do believe that every indication from football people in the know have said that the Jets have hired the right man for the job because they said he seemed to know what he's doing. But then again, I've heard that about so many Jets coaching hires, and they've never panned out. I mean, I can't imagine. I don't remember hearing that about Adam Gase. But then again, I mean, it's a crapshoot. It really is. Just be a good defensive coordinator does not a good head coach make. Does not necessarily a good head coach make.
But what are we doing?
I would have taken Anthony Lynn if it was me.
I would have taken Anthony Lynn. I also would have taken Doug Peterson, who was just fired by the Eagles. So why? First of all, the Jets have such an amazing track record when it comes to hiring defensive coordinators, don't they?
Oh God, yeah.
Let's talk about this for a second. So Adam Gase, defensive coordinator, and who was before Adam Gase? Who was before Adam Gase?
Todd Bowles.
And who was before that?
Who was before that?
Rex Ryan.
Oh yeah, you had success with Rex Ryan. Let's be fair.
But you haven't won a Super Bowl.
Is that the yardstick you want to measure this by?
Yes. We need to win a Super Bowl. We need to rebuild first because I don't think we're anywhere near winning a Super Bowl with the Jets.
You don't. Let's add that as a disclaimer. You don't like Sam Darnold at all. You don't think that Sam Darnold is a quarterback in the future. Sam
Darnold is a flop and a bust. I'm calling it now.
But I think that the Johnsons think that Robert Saleh is the quarterback. He's going to be the one to get him on the right track.
But why did they get an offensive mind to be the coach? Who wants?
Unless they're going to be drafting somebody in the draft,
and they brought in
taking a quarterback, and they've got the second pick, right?
They got the second overall pick because somehow they decided
they kept winning when they were supposed to lose.
And I know that's terrible. And if you go back to one of our clips that we teased our episodes with last week, Tom says that you play to win the game, the whole Herm Edwards cliche. What are you winning for? There's nothing to win for.
Lose to win. Be strategic.
This pissed me off, man. Like the Jets don't have good track records with defensive coordinators as their head coach. It doesn't work.
Let's wait and look. I'm not advocating that you love him right away, but I am advocating a little bit of patience. Give him rope.
By the way, 5-year deal. 5-year deal.
Give him a leash. I mean, come on.
But
Let's see if it works. It could actually be that he is the man for the job.
But
of course, you know what? If it turns out to not be the case, a year or two out of the line, I give you permission to dig up this clip and talk shit about me.
Well, I wouldn't talk shit about you, but I would say that I'm just tired of.
Then again, I reserve the right to be wrong. So,
well, we all reserve to be the right to be wrong. But I was going to say, like, defensive coordinators, they're looking to turn around the offense. Defense was never really an issue with the Jets. It was the offense. Sam Darnold has been an absolute bust. Bust. Capital B, capital U, capital S, capital T. Bust. I'm serious.
Or he could have misread it and been a total butts.
Well, that too. I'm going to make this statement. I know it's going to get me in trouble with the New York Jet fans, but I would take Daniel.
You are a Jet fan.
No, but I'm saying it'd get me in trouble with the Jet fan base. I'm going to make the statement, Nick, and we should put a lock on this statement that I'm about to make. I would take Daniel Jones over Sam Darnold right now.
Which is a big talk, which is a big statement. I don't know if you're right about that. I really don't, because I'm not entirely convinced that Danny is the answer. Coming from a Giants fan's perspective.
But at least Daniel Jones doesn't have flat feet like Sam Darnold.
Yeah, but he trips over his feet. That's a problem.
We're going to see the next version of the butt fumble, probably. But anyway.
Did you have to remind me of that?
Sorry. If I'm going to feel miserable as a Jet fan, I got to make the Giants fans feel miserable as well. So, anyway.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But right now, I am 2 thumbs down on the Jets hire. So
we will see. I'm willing to go this way.
Oh, you're on the halfway.
This way, and I'm willing to go this way.
Just be careful because that thumb might get stuck up somewhere. Anyway, let's move on to the NFL.
Funny that you're assuming that it hasn't already been somewhere.
Anyway, let's move on to, because we're running out of time here, the NFL Divisional Round.
Now, before he went off to Fight Island to engage in hand-to-ass combat, Tom did give us his picks. So
yeah, I think
we're going to be reading off these picks. So it's going to be a good matchup.
All right, so let's get underway. So first game, Rams at the Packers, and I have the brackets here so we can look at it. So that's the first game, 4:35. So when you're done watching us, go watch some football. So this is the game on Fox. So I think that Cooper Kupp was officially ruled out, and I think Jared Goff is getting the start because what's the name of the other guy who was the backup? I can't even remember now. John Wolford, I think was his name.
I think. I'm not sure.
He ended up going to the hospital.
They all could have been names on a clue board as far as I know.
So Goff is back in. First of all, how much would you have paid to think that John Wolford was the starter? And we should put in our $100 million guy to start a game in his place.
I mean, that's what I call mismanagement. So you know what? I'm going to make this simple on my end. I'm going to say that experience wins the day, and the Packers crush the Rams.
The Rams have no shot. They shouldn't have beaten the Seahawks. The Seahawks were a dysfunctional mess last week. I don't know what happened there, but they won. The Packers are going to win. Aaron Rodgers is on his game, and like I said, dare I say, is he going to be the MVP this year? Who knows?
Probably. Could be.
So, all right, we're all locked on the Packers. So the next game, as we move on in our NFL Divisional Round predictions, Ravens at the Bills. So
this one's going to be a good one because Lamar Jackson can somehow figure out how to do magic in the playoffs. Plus the Bills I don't know what's gotten into the Bills. I don't know what happened to the Bills that I've been watching for the past 25 years, but now all of a sudden they're good. Even though the last time they were good, I was in diapers. But, or I wasn't even born yet. In fact, the last Super Bowl they went to, I was barely even 2 months old, as a matter of fact. So I probably wasn't even in diapers at that point. But Nevertheless, who do you like in this one?
I like the Bills. I just think the Bills are on fire. I think the Bills are really taking everybody to task. The Ravens, it's going to be interesting because Lamar has never played in snow, and I heard that the reports are that there's going to be snow and everything that's going on there. So I like the Bills just because I think the momentum is carrying them big time.
Hopkins is going to be the difference. I think that Josh Allen has a lot more weapons than Lamar has, so I'm going to pick the Bills.
And what do we have for Tom? We're all locked on the Bills. Okay, Game 3 of NFL Divisional Round weekend. The Browns at the Chiefs. Now, a lot of people are going to say,
I meant Diggsy before, by the way.
What? Yeah, you meant Stephon Diggs.
I meant Stephon Diggs.
Yes. Okay.
Sorry,
we knew it. We knew it.
Lack of sleep, folks.
It's okay. Me too.
So Browns at Chiefs. I don't think the Browns have a chance in hell, so I'm going to pick the Chiefs. You're running into a wood chipper. As good as you felt last week, and that's definitely something to build on, you're still going up against Goliath, and you don't even have a slingshot.
Well, the one interesting thing I will say, and we've seen this happen in the playoffs in the past, when you're not playing for the longest period of time in serious football games, it comes back to bite you because you haven't had game action. The Browns are coming off game action, and they're really on momentum, playing well. So could that be one thing on their side? Now, don't get me wrong. Patrick Mahomes is the best in the world.
He can do magic.
He can do magic.
Out there.
He's got. I don't know. Is Hilaire playing? Because I heard he might have been ruled out. Because I heard that.
I thought he was still in COVID protocol. Last I heard.
So, and I think I heard a bunch of other guys were in COVID protocol, but I think the Chiefs are going to win. They're the best team in the game, but the Browns are going to give them a run for their money. They've looked really good between Baker and who was the former running back from KC that's now with the Browns. You know what I'm talking about?
Why am I blanking on his name right now? Oh, God.
I'm going to look it up while we're talking, but they've been really good without Odell, by the way. You know what I mean?
So, yeah, you mean Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt, yes. Kareem Hunt has looked good. Has Chubb been there? Yeah, Chubb. And like they've all been that team is
they're gonna be leaning on them the entire game, but I don't know if it's gonna be enough to beat. I don't know if Baker can again, you're going up against the premier quarterback in the NFL.
Also the best tight end in all the game in Travis Kelce.
And you need to be on your A game because you need to be not even on your A game. You need to be on your A+ game, plus game.
Right.
Because one mistake and he's going to feed it to you with a spoon.
I mean, and Patrick Mahomes has got the Eli Manning type magic in the fourth quarter also.
Yeah, that somehow he manages to pull victory from the jaws of defeat.
Right. So I think we're all going Chiefs at this point, right? Yeah, we're all going Chiefs. All right. Final game of the divisional round, and then we'll say adios, and you can go watch the games. So NFL Divisional Round prediction, final game, Bucks at the Saints. This is probably the closest matchup of all the games left, right?
Yeah. Considering that the Saints are they at full strength?
Yeah, Kamara's back. Thomas is playing. Drew Brees is, I guess he's considered healthy, so he's playing. So
the Bucks only barely got out of last week, and the Saints are still able to score at will. So I'm picking the Saints.
Yeah, I think the Saints are, from the offensive point of view, are the stronger team. I don't know about their defense. Their defense is kind of a question mark.
But that's going to be the difference.
The Bucks, it'll be interesting. Will Antonio Brown come to play and be clutch? That's going to be big.
Gotta see.
Will Mike Evans come out and put a clutch performance? If those two guys play well and Brady can work the running game with Fournette, who they brought in, they'll win because they have more names on the offensive side. But the Saints have more consistent offensive weapons when it comes.
More power.
So So you're taking the Saints. Tom is taking the Saints. I'm going to take the Saints. I just think they have too much power. Bye-bye, Tom Brady. Bye-bye. I think that's what we're going to say.
Then again, I reserve the right to be wrong. I often am.
So follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/ETB Sports, where you're watching this live feed, or if you're watching it on replay right now, tell us how the future is. We want to know how it is. So we'll travel into time like Back to the Future.
And we will be back at full strength next week, so make sure you're there for that.
So for Nick Fodera, I'm Nick Morgasen. This is the Nick and Nick version of Empty the Bench. Tom Levano will be back next week. Man, are we going to be talking about the Super Bowl soon? Holy crap.
Wow, yeah, you're right.
Hey,
but
at least
still,
if we predict that the Bucks are out, then we're not going to have to worry about serious home field advantage at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Bay.
Exactly.
So,
but
all right. We will say goodbye for now. Go watch the football games. What's coming up first? I think it was the Rams at the Packers is coming up at 4:35, I think it said. So go enjoy the football. Go enjoy the football. On the bottom scroll, you can follow the show at ETB Sports, at Nick Writes Words, at N Morgasen Radio, at Thomas J. Albano. And I guess that's it. So I guess we could just say this. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody!
And we will see you next week.